So, what am I doing here? Let me tell you. We are, we're leveling paint texture. So, let's say you want your airplane to be as reflective as possible. Like, just maximum reflection, right? Polishing helps with that because polishing removes the superficial scratches and swirls and allows you to have a nice clean reflection. But if you're think of like a funhouse mirror, right? Those mirrors are curved and they distort your reflection. Well, paint's kind of the same way. In paint, that distortion is called orange peel, and on this particular plane, we want the orange peel gone. So, the way to do this is conceptually very simple. You just sand off the orange peel. So you take these kind of waves, right? These peaks and valleys. You shave them off with sandpaper, and you polish out your sandpaper marks, and you're there. Super easy, right? In execution, see all these rivet heads? Can't hit that with the sander because you'll take the paint off. Also, you can't get too close to them because when you try and remove your sanding marks, you can take the paint off. So there's a little bit more nuance, and you got to use very small wool pads or use the edge of a wool pad to get in between there. So it's a little bit more challenging. I'm going to show you just kind of step by step what this looks like. It's a very slow process. It's a very messy process, but it's a very satisfying process. So let's start. So you can see my reflection is kind of distorted here. That's what we're trying to get rid of. And to start off with that, we're going to use a 1500 grit sandpaper. So this 1500, we're going to use KXK Dynamics sanding block. So what this does, this gives you a nice flat surface to sand with. If you are using your hands, you're going to have 4 points of contact that are going to be sanding really well, and the rest of it isn't going to sand, so that's not good. We're also going to need a lot of water. So we're going to spray this down and take our sandpaper, and we're just going to work kind of in this area, then we'll come around and do the outside with a smaller piece. So we'll just start, and as this gets going, you'll be able to see the peaks and valleys. Let's rinse it off. That's all clear coat coming off. This is clear coated paint. Alright, let's zoom in. So you see the darker spots? That's where the sandpaper has skimmed off the peaks, right? So if we make a little drawing, here's a peak and a valley. We just sanded this off. So there's still valleys, there's less peaks. So we need to keep going till the whole surface is even. So those shiny spots are the valleys, the little bit darker spots are the peaks. See that white stuff coming off? See the clear coat? So we got to a pretty good point. Most of this middle is flat. The edges still have shiny spots. So we're going to move on to a smaller block. And for this, we're going to use a 3-inch 3M 1500 sanding disc with the same KXK Dynamics backing blades here. This looks different. It's the same grit. But it allows me to get up to the edges a little bit more. So next step, 2000 grit sandpaper. I'm using a little bit smaller block, and I'm actually going to work up a little bit closer to those edges. So we're trying to kind of have a gradient up. Now, next grit, 3000. The 3000 is it's kind of a foam. It's called Trizac, also by 3M. And the reason I'm using the 3000 grit is just to make polishing out a little bit easier, especially around those edges. It's not a lot of fun to have to apply a lot of pressure with a rotary. So I'm pretty happy with this square here. You can see it's a nice even texture. I'm looking around to see if there's any areas that are more scratched looking than others, and overall it's pretty even. So now we're going to do the other one, and then the other one, and then the other one, then the other one, then the other one. Well, I was going to do the other ones, but I'll just compound and polish this just so you can see what that looks like. Then you can see the contrast between the two. Then I can put the camera away and grind on the rest of it. So we've got some Meguiar's M100 here. Just get some on there. Wool pad, rotary. So I can probably just talk to you through here now, because this looks awesome. Let me grab the camera so you can see the difference between here and here. You can kind of see the transition around the rivet lines there, because obviously we don't want to burn off the rivet heads, but let me grab the camera, I'll show you. So in case you'd forgotten what I look like, there, just like a mirror. So I would actually do one more polishing step on top of this, get the holograms out. For that we'd just use the Rupes yellow pad hyper polish, but I'm gonna actually sand the rest of this, put the camera kind of on its own, and yeah, there's a lot of work, so look. So I'm done sanding. It's hours after you last saw me, by the way. Kind of cool looking now with this patchwork. Maybe we should leave it like that. Tomorrow I'm going to start compounding this, polishing this. It is 1 a.m. right now. So today's Tuesday, technically Wednesday morning. I fly back at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, so when I wake up again. And then I come back on Friday till Monday, and I'm getting help. My buddy Andy's coming out to help. So yeah, this is good progress for now. Good learning day, but this took entirely too long. Hopefully the other side will go a lot faster. The fuselage will go faster just because it's a lot bigger panels. There's just tons of little sub panels here, which you can't work with your biggest sander, so you gotta work slowly in small sections. But anyway, kind of looks cool this way, but I'm gonna go to bed. Have a good night. So the key to doing this without stripping rivet heads, especially when your pad is bigger than your section, is to very precisely apply your pad pressure. So if I'm going like this, I can tilt the pad up or back, put my pressure right there. So look, you can see just that part is getting polisher, and kind of move that pressure around. Then we get up here, go across the top, go down here, across the side, and then in the middle we're going to go like this. So I'll zoom it in. You can kind of see what the pattern looks like as the polisher is going around. So since we just went to town on this paint with a rotary and a wool pad and compound, one would expect holograms. So for that, we're going to use the Rupes Yellow Pad Hyper Polish on a dual action machine, see, to just refine the finish, make it a little bit shinier, and get rid of the holograms. Now, do the same thing on this side. So the other side took a long time. I don't even want to tell you how long it took. But with the lessons learned, I would imagine this side, half the time. Let's see. I'm back. Just got back to Tallahassee. I'm going to start sanding. I'm going to finish up the rudder. So this is the vertical stabilizer here. I'm going to finish sanding the rudder. Then the lower part I do off a ladder so I can move away the scaffolding. And hopefully get that done tonight. Start polishing it tomorrow. And then we also start on the fuselage tomorrow. So Andy should be here in a little bit. And I'll have him start on the fuselage as well and see how far we can get. So we got this block. Got this block. This one is a lot harder than this one. So the density of the foam is a lot higher. This will level the texture a lot faster than this will. Doesn't seem like a big difference, but it actually, I notice, makes a huge difference. In addition to that, I'm starting actually with a 3000 grit. Just like a slight sand around the perimeter, just to show how wide my buffer zone is going to be. Then I start with the 1500 grit. Then any areas I missed, I actually go straight to 2000 because 2000 is aggressive enough still where I can do some texture leveling and I can refine 1500 at the same time. So saving a step there. Then we blend with 3000. However, instead of doing those sequentially, I'm doing all 1500 first. So there's less time looking around for different sanding blocks and different grits. So just little things that I picked up on here that are going to make this go a lot faster. So just by using that harder block, I'm getting through that texture a lot faster. And then when I feel good about this one, move on to the next one. I'm not going to refine this until all of these are done with 1500. So now we're doing 2000 grit. In this case, I didn't do a very good job of getting close to that edge with the 1500 because the 1500 is really more of a quick and dirty. So I'm going to use the 2000 to get closer to the edge because 2000 grit is going to be a lot easier to polish out than 1500. Likewise, with the 3000, we're going to get even closer to that edge. And again, the 3000 is Trizac foam, but when you see that foamy white stuff coming off, that means that you're actually removing some paint. You can see that white stuff coming off. See how much less residue we have versus the 1500 step? That's because it's really not that aggressive. So this is Andy with the Detail Freaks. He was tired of just being used for his good looks, so he went in the detailing business.
Yes.
And now he's being used for his good looks again.
AKA Mr. Moist.
Mr. Moist, aka your favorite detailer's favorite detailer.
There we go. It's been a productive day. We're still sanding. The
vertical stabilizers done on both sides. Andy got a ton of work done on the other side, and he actually came up with a new way of polishing out the sanding mark. So we were using the rotary and that thin wool pad. Turns out putting that on a 21mm polisher works a lot better. So we're using a dual action polisher, still same aggressive wool pad, same compound, but it's just working a lot better. It's faster, we don't have to be as careful with the rivet head. So overall, way to go, Andy.
So what we're using here is the Optimum Hyper Wool Pad M100. We're using fast hand speed, good downward pressure, up on speed 5.5. Pretty quick, really good result.
You know, I think it's time to go to bed. 1 a.m. We'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. It is Sunday. We are getting it done. This side of the fuselage just needs a little bit more sanding. That's what Andy's working up in the front. I'm sanding in the back. We'll meet in the middle and have a celebration. The right side of the fuselage, so this is the left side of the fuselage, the right side of the fuselage is entirely sanded. So once we get done on that side, we're going to start compounding it out. After compounding, we're going to do finishing polish just to give it a little bit extra shine. The wool pad on the dual action, it finishes nicely, but it's not as excellent as it could be. So that'll be the plan for today. I think with a really long day, we'll possibly get very close to getting this done. We're going to do a really thorough inspection afterwards too, just to make sure we don't have some square of riveted panel that's like not sanded or not compounded. So that'll be our day today. We'll touch base once we're done sanding here, and let's get to it. Now we're just going to take out all our sanding marks on this side. I actually got the last little bit of it compounded out last night. So we have probably about 75% of this fuselage to do. Once we're done with the compounding step, we're going to go over to a refining step. We're getting a pretty good finish with this combination right now, so it's not like we have very deep gouging, so it should be a quick kind of left, right, up, down polishing step. Once that's done, we're going to wash the plane because there's dust and compound and just it's kind of dirty. So we'll do that and get out of here. Now right before polishing, I give it another quick wipe down to get any loose clear coat off because I don't want that clear coat loading up my pad. it's already getting loaded up as is with paint correction. And that's also a good time to evaluate your sanding work. So you see how this one is beautiful and even, and you see how this one looks like shit. So because it was dirty, I didn't see that, but now I see that there's still a lot of texture left in there, and it's just not quite as refined. So I'm gonna go back over this. I sanded this, this is all on me. So I'm gonna re-sand this real quick and get it to look more even, which will make polishing it out easier, but also we didn't get rid of all the texture. Because remember how those peaks and valleys show you that there's still texture there? So I'm gonna take care of that, then we'll move on. Then generally after that first pass, we clean the pad, find where we still have some scratches, and then go back and repeat. That times 100, and the plane's done. Easy. Compounding. All the sanding marks, all that, gone. So now we're going to go back over it with a softer polish to further refine the surface and make it even glossier. And then, dare I say, well, then we got to wash like this stuff. It's really dusty. Then we're done. So let's get to it. So you can see after finishing polish, so this is before, it's hazy because we compounded it very, very hard. Here, look how clean that is. So just taking it a step further. We're done. Drinking our celebration water. We got it finished polished. Looks awesome. I'll get some beauty shots here in a second. Big thanks to Andy. He outworked me, which not a lot of people can do. He usually works on boats. Is that fair? Like,
Yeah, much bigger jobs, so these are small.
Yeah, this is like a little break for him. So,
little jaunt.
yeah, are you gonna start your own YouTube channel?
Yeah.
It'd be cool. You guys would watch it, right?
At least one of you.
Yeah. I'll subscribe. I won't watch it, but I'll subscribe. And you should subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed already. I don't even care if you watch it. But yeah, this was a big job. Went a lot easier with Andy, and beautiful facility here in Florida. I'm gonna get some beauty shots and get out of here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.